Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love diving into wild royal stories, celebrity drama, and the kind of behind-the-scenes details you won't hear anywhere else, then you're in the right place. Today, we've got a crazy one lined up, so make sure you stick around until the end. You do not want to miss this. Princess Beatrice of York. She may not be the first name you think of when it comes to the British royal family, but don't be fooled, her story is one of the wildest roller coasters in the entire House of Windsor. From her headline-making parents to her personal struggles, her unexpected marriage, and the constant glare of the press, Beatrice has lived through drama that most people wouldn't believe. And the best part? She's done it all with a surprising mix of resilience, eccentricity, and flair. So, let's rewind to the beginning, because Beatrice's life was chaotic before she even knew how to walk. Born into royal turmoil, Beatrice Elizabeth Mary was born on August 8, 1988, at the Portland Hospital in London. At first glance, she had everything: a royal title, the love of doting parents, and the kind of privilege most people. But here's the thing: she was also born into a storm. Her father, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, was the Queen's second son, once considered the most eligible bachelor in the world. Her mother, Sarah Ferguson, also known as Fergie, was vibrant, fun-loving, and a media magnet. Together, they were supposed to be the golden couple of the late 80s. But if you know anything about Andrew and Fergie, you know their marriage was less of a fairy tale and more of a tabloid feeding frenzy. By the time Beatrice was just 4 years old, the cracks in her parents' relationship exploded in public. Infidelity scandals, messy separations, money problems, you name it, it was splashed across the front page. Imagine being a child, and every embarrassing detail of your parents' divorce is international news. That was Beatrice's childhood. And yet, despite the chaos, Beatrice had one major saving grace: the unwavering support of her grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen was reportedly very fond of Beatrice and her younger sister, Eugenie, often stepping in to give them a sense of stability when everything else around them was falling apart. Growing up under the flashbulbs, most royal kids try to avoid the spotlight. But Beatrice? She didn't have a choice. From the moment she was born, the cameras were on her. Tabloids dissected everything: her outfits, her school choices, even her facial expressions. But here's where things get really interesting. Unlike William and Harry, who were groomed from birth to be at the very top of the royal hierarchy, Beatrice was never in direct line to the throne. That gave her a strange mix of freedom and pressure. On one hand, she didn't have the crushing weight of destiny like William. On the other, the press often labeled her and Eugenie as spares, background royals who existed mostly for gossip fodder. To make matters more complicated, Beatrice struggled with dyslexia as a child. In school, reading and writing didn't come easy to her, and for a while, she fell behind her peers. But instead of hiding it, she leaned into it. Later, she would become a strong advocate for children with learning difficulties, turning her personal struggle into a mission to help others. The tabloid villains, Andrew and Fergie. Let's be real, Beatrice's parents didn't make things easy for her. Sarah Ferguson, while beloved by some for her bubbly personality, became tabloid enemy number one in the 1990s. Remember the infamous toe-sucking scandal? Yeah, that was Beatrice's mom, caught by paparazzi in a compromising situation with her financial advisor. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew was considered a war hero after his service in the Falklands, but over time, his reputation took a nosedive. He was constantly painted as spoiled, arrogant, and reckless with money. And decades later, his association with Jeffrey Epstein would become one of the biggest scandals to ever hit the monarchy. But even before that, his reputation cast a long shadow over Beatrice and Eugenie. Growing up with those two as parents meant Beatrice was constantly fighting uphill to be taken seriously. She wasn't just Beatrice, she was Andrew and Fergie's daughter. And for the tabloids, that meant every mistake she made was amplified. Carving her own path. But here's where Beatrice's story takes a turn. Unlike some royals who collapse under the weight of media pressure, Beatrice decided to build her own identity. She studied at Goldsmiths, University of London, where she pursued a degree in history and the history of ideas. It wasn't the traditional Oxford or Cambridge path of the royals, but it fit her vibe. Beatrice was never going to be the polished, picture-perfect princess like Kate Middleton. She had her own eccentric style, her own way of speaking, and her own quirks. Yep, a princess working in AI. Not exactly what you'd expect, right? The fashion hits and misses now. We can't talk about Beatrice without mentioning that hat. You know the one. The towering, pretzel-shaped fascinator she wore to William and Kate's wedding in 2011. It was so outrageous it went viral before going viral was even a thing. Memes, parodies, even its own Facebook page. That hat became one of the most iconic fashion disasters in royal history. But here's the thing, Beatrice took it in stride. Instead of hiding from the embarrassment, she auctioned off the hat for charity, raising over £80,000 for UNICEF and children in crisis. That move showed the world something important. Beatrice might be the butt of jokes, but she knows how to flip the narrative and do some good in the process. Behind the smile, despite her bubbly public appearances, Beatrice has dealt with more than her fair share of personal struggles. Friends have said she's always been sensitive about the way she's portrayed in the media. Unlike Harry, who eventually lashed out at the press, or William, who withdrew behind palace walls, Beatrice tried to strike a balance, staying in the public eye, but on her own terms. She also faced criticism for living a life of privilege while not being a working royal, because technically, Beatrice and Eugenie don't get paid from the sovereign grant like William or Charles. Instead, they've had to build careers while still carrying the royal title, a balancing act that has made them frequent targets of press scrutiny. And that's just the beginning. From surviving her parents' scandals, to finding her footing in the tech world, to becoming a fashion icon, for better or worse, Beatrice has already lived a life full of twists and turns. But things are about to get even crazier. Because in the next chapter of her story, we get into the whirlwind romances, the shocking wedding drama, and the way her father's downfall shook her entire world. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time here with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And hey, drop a comment down below. I love hearing your thoughts and chatting with you all. Until next time, take care and I'll see you in the next one.